Definitely. Good morning, students.
Good morning, madam.
In the last class, we had completed the abrasive jet machining process and the ultrasonic machining process. So those are the two process comes under the non-traditional machining process. So in this class, we will learn about what is meant by ECM and what is meant by abrasive water jet machining process. What is meant by electrochemical machining process and what is meant by abrasive water jet machining process. So yeah, you can know, you had an idea now how what is meant by abrasive jet machining and what are the different types of abrasives are to be used in an abrasive jet machining process. Clear? So So we'll start with an abrasive water jet machining. So there is a difference between a small difference between abrasive jet machining process and as well as abrasive water jet machining process. So here the both the water and the abrasive particles both mixed up and formed as a slurry, and it is to be get formed on a workpiece. It is to be get formed on a workpiece. But in the yesterday class, what you had learned related to the abrasive jet machining process, there both the abrasive and water is not mixing. So there we are putting some abrasive particles on the workpiece, and with the help of some rays, some pressure, the workpiece is to be get having some machining and some material is to be get removing. But in this class, we are learning about what is a combination of abrasive water jet machining. So why the name of abrasive water jet machining is to be. So abrasive water jet machining is also known as AWJM, is a mechanical material removal process used to erode the holes and cavities by the impact of the abrasive particles of the slurry on hard and the brittle materials. Since the process is non-thermal, non-chemical, and non-electrical, it creates no change in the metallurgical and physical properties of the workpiece. So the main advantage of the abrasive water jet machining is whatever the machining you are going to performing, whether it is a ductile material or a brittle material, the properties is not to be get changed of of the workpiece, and the process is a non-thermal, non-chemical, and non-electrical. The process is to be get taken, and the water here what we are going to be using, it acts as a coolant. It acts like a coolant. So with the help of a water jet machining, there is a difference between a water jet machining and an abrasive water jet machining. So the purely water jet machining can't cut the brittle or a hard materials, can't cut the brittle or a hard materials. So we are going to be combine the both abrasive and water. So the combination of abrasive and water is known as an abrasive water jet machining. So with the help of only water jet machining, we can cut the plastics and we can cut the cloths, rubbers. So those type of material products can be get cut, can be get machined. But with the help of an abrasive water jet machining, we can machine on a stainless steel, we can machine on a tungsten carbide or a steel or a glass or any other hard materials. So those type of materials can be get machined with the help of an abrasive water jet machining. Okay. So the basic principle is the abrasive water jet machining is a non-traditional machining process which makes use of the principles of abrasive jet machining and a water jet machining. So I had told you now. So the water jet machining, we can do the machining only on the lightweight particles, lightweight products. So whereas the abrasive jet machining, we can strike it out on the workpiece, but it is not up to the extent. But as the use of an abrasive water jet machining, the workpiece properties cannot be get changed, and with the help of a water, it acts like a coolant so that whatever the abrasives are attacking on the workpiece, it can be get removed. It can be get removed because there you are using a lubricant like a water. Clear? So the abrasive jet machining process involves the application of a high speed stream of an abrasive particles assisted by the pressurized air on the work surface through a nozzle of a small diameter. So the material removal takes place by abrading action of the abrasive particles. So this is the process what they are going to be telling. So the diagram is, So this is the diagram, students. It is a diagram of abrasive water jet machining. Here the workpiece is to be placed on a flat surface by using some fixture. So workpiece is constant, it is not to be get moved. And in one container, the air or a water is to be get taken with the help of a control valve and with the help of a pressure. High water is to be get sended into the mixing chamber. High water is to be get sended into the mixing chamber. So the parts of an abrasive water jet machining are: one is a workpiece, one is a nozzle, one is a mixing chamber, and the another is a abrasive slurry, abrasive particles where you are going to be sending. So the other one is a control valve, the pressure, the relief valve, and air filter come dryer. So these are the main the parts of an abrasive water jet machining. So these are the main parts. What is going to be taken? Considerations. So the process is, from this, the main part, the water is going to be taken with the help of a pressure, high pressure, and with the help of a controlling valve. And at this place, the filter is going to be get taken. Filter is also to be get inserted. So with the help of a high pressure, the water is going to be moved to the mixing chamber. At the same time, the abrasives are also moved to the mixing chamber. So when the abrasive hits to the water, then it converts to the nozzle, whatever the slurry, it is to be get moved to the nozzle, and the nozzle converts the liquid into higher kinetic energy. So the nozzle, from the nozzle where the total slurry is to be get moving, so this nozzle acts like it converts the liquid into higher kinetic energy. Higher kinetic energy. So in the nozzle, it is of the small diameter. It is very, very small diameter, and there is a gap between a nozzle and the workpiece. It is not very nearer to the workpiece. It acts like a somewhat a gap. And when you have to get it out, when the abrasive particles and water is going to be taken, then what type of the nozzle tip is to be get manufactured? The nozzle tip is manufactured with what type of material? So the material of the nozzle is made up of a tungsten carbide. It is a very, very hard material. So when the abrasives like a sodium carbide or boron carbide, so different types of parts, silicon carbide is to be get taken. So the nozzle cannot be get harmed. The nozzle cannot be get fractured. So nothing is to be happen for the nozzle when those type of abrasive particles are to be get taken and the slurry is to be get moving. Clear, students? So this is the main process of the abrasive water jet machining. So the first one, the part is a workpiece, the nozzle, the mixing chamber, and here the abrasives is to be get taken. And here you are having a water content is to be get taken, the pressure valve and a control valve, and the water with the help of a filter, with the help of a high pressure, the control valve controls the water which is sending to the mixing chamber. Which is sending to the mixing chamber. At the same time, the abrasives are to be sent to the mixing chamber. When the abrasives are striking to the water, some type of energy is to be get taken. So the total slurry is to be moved to the nozzle. The total slurry is to be get moved to the nozzle. So where the nozzle tip is made up of a tungsten carbide. The nozzle tip is made up of a tungsten carbide, and which is having a very small diameter. It is not having a very large diameter. So here the nozzle acts like it converts the liquid into high kinetic energy. It converts the liquid into high kinetic energy. So we have to observe one thing is, here the water acts as a coolant when the abrasive particles are sticking on the workpiece. So due to the water, the particles which are stained on the workpiece are to be get vanished. The particles which are attached to the workpiece are to be get vanished when the machining was completed. Clear? So this is the process of the abrasive water jet machining. Okay. So we will see one by one the points, what is going to be happen. So here the water jet machining is an erosion process technique in which the water under high pressure and velocity precisely cuts through and grinds away the minuscule amounts of the material. So the addition of the abrasive substance greatly increase the ability to cut through the hard materials such as the steel and the titanium. So I had told you, with the help of only a water jet machining, we can't cut the hard materials. So what we are doing is we are going to mixing the both abrasives and the water part. So with the help of both, we are cutting the hard materials also. So the water jet machining is a cold cutting process. So the one point we have to consider here is it is not a heating process. It is not a heating process. It is a cold process. It is not a heating process because it is having a very light heat, because we are going to be using a water. It removes the heat. It removes the heat of the abrasives which are going to be striking on the workpiece. So the revolutionary technology is an addition to the non-traditional cutting process like laser and plasma, and is able to cut through virtually any material. So the water jet process is combined with a CNC. So here the total process is combined with a CNC. Okay, and see here students, purely water flow without an abrasive to cut the materials such as a foam, rubber, plastic, cloth, carpet and a wood. So the abrasive jet cutters mix an abrasive garnet to a pressurized water stream to cut the harder materials. So here they had given clearly when only the water pressurized on the workpiece, what type of materials can be get machined. So these are the materials can be get machined. But when the abrasives are to be have mixed with the water, these are the materials can be get machined. The stainless steel, the titanium, glass, ceramic tile and marble and granite. So this abrasive water jet machining purely uses in high industries. In a high industries to cut a different types of materials, different types of machinings and different types of designs. And here the abrasive water jet machining is also used for edge type of designs. Edge type of designs. Edge type of designs are nothing but we can see on a iron doors. We can see the embossing of designs. Embossing of designs. So those type of designs also it can be cutted through the abrasive water jet machining. Clear? So in the abrasive water jet machining, the abrasive particles are mixed with water and forced through the small nozzle at a high pressure so that the abrasive slurry impinges on the workpiece at a high velocity. So each of the two components of the jet, the water and the abrasive particle materials, have both separate the purpose and a supportive purpose. Clear students, what I had told you now. So the water in the jet acts as a coolant and carries both the abrasive materials and erode the material to clear of the work. So here the both the water and the abrasives what you are going to be considering, it acts like the tool to cut the to machine the workpiece. At the same time, due to the water content, if any of the abrasive particles are attacked on the workpiece, it can be get removed also. So both the process is to be get taken. So these are the different machining parts what is going to be happen. And here what is meant by an abrasive slurry. So the slurry is in this process is a mixture of abrasive particles and a liquid content, mainly a water. So the ratio of the abrasive to the liquid. So this is the doubt you have to get. So the ratio of the abrasive to the liquid can vary from 1:6 to 1:14. So in this ratio, the both are to be get taken. So the slurry is to be fed through the nozzle, which directs the abrasive slurry centrally to the workpiece. So in this nozzle, the total content is to be taken in the center of the nozzle, not to the or it is in a walls of the nozzle or any other thing. It is directly striking on the workpiece. It is directly striking on the workpiece. It is perpendicular to the workpiece. Clear? And here the slurry serves the several purpose. It carries and distributes the abrasive grains on the work surface, thus removes the waste material and cools the workpiece, avoiding the thermal stresses. So the abrasives here used are boron carbide, cubic boron nitride, silicon carbide, aluminum oxide, garnet, and tin oxide, and etc. So these are the basic abrasives which are using in an abrasive water jet machining. So here the workpiece is like the workpiece material may be of any shape and any size. It is held by means of a fixture. So many of the difficult to the work materials may be machined by abrasive water jet machining. So if the materials having a very hard toughness of the properties, those type of materials can be easily machined with the help of an abrasive water jet machining. Clear. So the hard materials like the tungsten carbide, titanium carbide, and the ceramics. So these type of things can be get machined. and the materials like germanium, ferrites, and a glass and a quartz also. So the mechanism of the material removal here is, so the direct impact of the abrasive particles on the workpiece. So impact of the free moving abrasive particles on the workpiece. So erosion of the work surface due to the cavitation's effect of the abrasive slurry and the chemical action associated with the fluid used. So these are the material removal process which is to be get carried on here. So now we will see what is the video, animation video, what is going to be happening for an abrasive water jet machining. Clear? So this is a video of an abrasive water jet machining. So in this, one pipe is going to be get taken. Against to a pipe, a control valve is connected. And next to the tip of the pipe, a nozzle is connected. And the nozzle is made up of the titanium, the tungsten carbide. And here the abrasive feed is to be taken. So the ratio of the abrasive and the water, the content is to be taken to the slurry, the mixing chamber. So abrasive feed of a silicon carbide or aluminum oxide or any other boron carbide, any of the abrasive feeds are to be get taken, depends on the workpiece material. It can be get choose. So the abrasive tube is connected in this mixing chamber, the abrasive feed. At the same time, the water, which is the nozzle is having a very small diameter, is to be poured into the abrasive tube. So the workpiece is placed on a fixture which cannot be get moved. It is a standard. And due to the nozzle, the mixing is going to be get taken, and from this nozzle, it converts the liquid into the higher kinetic energy. This is the total chamber. So from here, the water with a high pressure is to be get given. So from here, the inlet is to be get pumped. So it is centrally, from the nozzle, it is centrally strikes over to the workpiece. Strike over to the workpiece. Yes, friends. So this is nothing but the abrasive water jet machining. So we will see what are the disadvantages and what is the advantages, what is applications. So here the application comes to, so due to the uniqueness of the abrasive water jet cutting, there are many applications where it is more useful and economical than standard machining process. So in this section, some of the major applications and uses of the abrasive water jet cutting are given. So some of the applications like machining tool steel, manufacturing industry, and a construction industry. So these are the main application part over point of view. So the machining tool steel, it explains that abrasive water jet cutting can be effectively used for cutting a tool steels. So tool steel is generally very difficult to cut. Yes, the stainless steel or the steel is very difficult to cut. With the help of the abrasive particles and a combination of a water, it can be easily. So may result in the heat that could after the metallurgical structure of the material. So if you are trying to cut the steel with another process, another non-conventional process, what happens to the steel? The properties of the steel are to be get changed. So not to change the properties of the steel, it is to be get same. We are going to moving for an abrasive water jet machining, because due to the help of an water, the heat is to be get reduced and the properties of the steel cannot be get changes. Clear? So here the manufacturing industry, the abrasive water jet machining is used to cut any profile required by the automobiles, ships, and an aircraft. So the glass industry calls for an artistic work on different glass materials. So I will show you what is meant by etch type of parts. So this is nothing but an etch design. So for this type of cutting, the abrasive water jet machining is to be get carried out for this type of cutting, because this type of cutting was happened on a glass. It is not a normal thing. So in this one, it is having some of the material on back side and some of the material on the front side. So it is to be cutted in a certain manner. So these type of designs are to be performed by using an abrasive water jet machining. Okay. So the construction industry, to cut the ceramic tile, mosaic, marble or a granite for a home, commercial building or even the pavement decoration, the abrasive water jet cutting often referred as marble cutter or graphite cutting machine or a granite cutter. So when you want to do some of the different designs in a home, interior designing, nowadays the interior designing is coming more and more. So for those type of interior designing, so to cut the different types of the marbles in different shapes and different sizes. So this type of abrasive water jet machining is very effective used. So the next one. So the limitations of an abrasive water jet machining, it is a very useful machining process that can be readily substituted for many other cutting methods. So the limitations like the jet may tend to dissipate when the target material thickness is too high, thus results in rough wave pattern on the surface. So in an abrasive water jet machining, cutting through a thicker specimen is a problem. It is a very problem to cut a thicker specimen. So when the abrasive slurry jet comes out with a different angle, then it enters the specimen, thus causing a dimensional inaccuracy. So whatever the operation is going to be carrying out, whatever the process is going to be carried out, the target is always the slurry directly targets to the workpiece, not to the another part. So the relatively low cutting rates when compared to the laser. Here, so these are nothing but what is meant by an abrasive water jet machining. Yes, friends. Now we will move over to ECM. So in the last class, we completed the abrasive jet machining, ultrasonic machining, and here now you had completed abrasive water jet machining. So now we will take over to ECM, electrochemical machining. So I think you had know what is meant by Faraday's law of electrolysis. So electrochemical machining is totally based on Faraday's law of electrolysis. So by the name electrochemical machining is known as an ECM. So in ECM, it is based upon the Faraday's law of electrolysis. So the Faraday's law states that the mass of a metal altered by the electrode is proportional to the quantity of the electric charges transferred to that electrode. So in this, the ECM, the metal removal rate is controlled by the anodic dissolution in the electrolyte. So in electrochemical machining process, the process is totally carried out with the help of an electrolyte. So here the electrolyte is used as a sodium chloride. It is nothing but a sodium chloride. So how it is to be get connected and what is going to be happening in an electrochemical machining process, we will see here. So the workpiece connected to a positive terminal. So the tool connected to a negative terminal, and the electrodes should be placed closely with a gap of 0.5 mm. So we have to observe one thing, students. In a non-conventional machining process, always the tools won't be directly contact with the workpiece. It will be maintain a certain gap between one and another. So both the anodes and the cathodes should be immersed into the electrode. The electrolyte, both the anodes and the cathode should be immersed into the electrolyte. So what is the function of an electrolyte? We have to know what is the functions of an electrolyte. The current is carried between the tool and the workpiece through electrolyte. So the produced heat is dissipated by the liquid electrolytic solution. So next one is the product of machining is removed by the solution. And the fourth one, it keeps the reaction continuous by supplying the elements necessary for the reaction. So these are the main functions of an electrolyte. Here we are going to be using a DC power supply, and for a DC power supply, the workpiece is to be get connected and the tool is to be get connected. So here the workpiece is connected to a positive terminal and the tool is connected to a negative terminal. So for the DC power supply, beside to the DC power supply, to the tool is to be get connected to the servo motor. For the servo motor, it is to be get connected to the electrolyte, where the electrolyte is going to be taken in a certain basin, which consists of a sodium chloride. So the next one, so this is the diagram. So this is the diagram, students. The one is the workpiece, which is fixed on a fixture. It is not to be get moved. All the degrees of freedom is fixed. So next one, you are going to be taken an electrolyte in a certain basin. So from the electrolyte, a hollow shaped pipe is to be get connected. A hollow shaped pipe is to be get pump is to be get connected. So to this pump, you are going to be it is connected a filter, pressure, and a flow meter, and a DC power supply. So I had told you that for a DC power supply, the workpiece is connected a positive, and as well as the tool is connected to a negative path. Clear? So the constant feed is going to be taken. The constant feed is going to be taken. So here the electrolyte, due to the electrolyte only, the light which is to be get passed to the from the pump, the workpiece operation is going to be carried out. The workpiece operation is carried out. So here the filter is going to be taken, the control valve is taken, and the pressure was also going to be taken. And next one, before starting this all, we will see the video how the process is to be taken. Okay. So the ECM is also known as a reverse of electroplating. It is known as a reverse of electroplating. So here they had taken a fixture. On the fixture, a workpiece is placed. So in the basin, a fixture is taken. On a fixture, a workpiece is placed. Beside, on the top of the workpiece, the tool is placed. On the tool is totally controlled with a servo motor. So here the tool is connected to a DC source, and whereas the workpiece is connected to a DC source, the workpiece is to connected for a positive terminal and tool is connected to a negative terminal. So here the electrolyte is taken in another basin, and in an electrolyte a hollow shaped pipe is to be get followed. So this is the pump where the electrolyte is to be get passed, and from the with the help of a filter, the electrolyte is to be get forward over to the tool and over strikes over to the workpiece. So from the filter, it is to be passing, and with the help of a pressure gauge, it is controlled, and with the help of a flow meter, the total electrolyte is passing over to the tool. And the next. So when the pump is to be get started, the electrolyte is passing to the tool, and from the tool, it directly strikes on the workpiece. So when the electrolyte is going to passing over to the workpiece is directly melting. So here you are not using any type of an abrasive particles. With the help of a chemical, you are going to be cutting the workpiece. With the help of a chemical, so when it is striking, when the pipe is to be get striking perpendicular to the workpiece, it explains that the workpiece is melting at a certain area. So it directly uses for a drilling holes. It can be very used. Okay, so this is the video. So which is known as a reverse of electroplating. So we will see the points. Clear, students? So this is the diagram which we had seen in a video. So the principles of ECM. So the potential difference is maintained between the electrodes. As a result, ions existing in the electrolytes migrate towards the electrodes. So next, the conventionally positively charged ions are attracted towards the cathode, and the negative ions so are attached towards the anode, and thus the flow of current is initiated in the electrolyte. So the workpiece here acts as an anode and the tool acts as a cathode. So the next third point, the setup is kept stationary, yes, and the tool is fed linearly. It is to be fed linearly over to the workpiece. And next fourth, the desired amount of material is removed because of ion migration towards the tool. So when due to the ion migration towards the tool, the desired type of material is to be removed on the workpiece. So next, for keeping the tool safe from damage, a continuous supply of electrolyte is ensured by pumping it at high pressure. So the pressure is to be get taken at 15 kg per centimeter square. So this is a pressure which is to be maintained under the ECM process. So here in this process, the temperature generated is very low and no spark is produced, and thus there is not any scope of metallurgical changes in the job. So this explains that in this process, what are the process is to be get followed, the spark is not produced. Due to this process, there is no change of any properties of the material of the work. Clear? So the next one, when the electricity is supplied to the metallic ions of the workpiece is pulled out, the positive ions of the metal reacts with the negative ions present on the electrolytic solution and hydroxides of a metal and other components. So these hydroxides are precipitated and washed away by the electrolytic solution. So we had known that the workpiece is connected to the positive, and whereas the tool is connected to the negative, the workpiece is acts as an anode and the tool acts as an cathode. So whatever the electrolytic solution which is sending to the pipe to the hollow space, it is directly strikes over to the strikes over to the tool, and from the tool, the total it is moved in a linearly direction over to the workpiece. So in the electrochemical machining, the tool and the workpiece does not come in direct contact. It does not come in a direct contact with each other. So negligible wear and tear is observed. Negligible wear and tear is observed. So it is a very light wear and tear. So the MRR is very high and voltage supplied is very low. So in this, the MRR is high and the voltage supply is very low. So the metallic workpiece is not damaged due to the thermal stresses. So the workpiece is not at all damaged. So the dimensions up to 0.05 mm can easily machine. So the dimensions of the workpiece of 0.05 mm can be machined easily. So the advantages of ECM is it is an accurate machining, no direct contact between the tool and the job. So the negligible wear and tear of the tool, it is environment friendly and no thermal or mechanical stresses is induced on the tool. So there is no contact between the workpiece and the tool. So you had seen in the video, there is no contact between the workpiece and the tool. So the jobs with complex geometric shapes can be machined. So the main usage of a non-conventional machining process is we can use the different type of intricate shapes. Jobs can be get manufactured by using a non-conventional machining process. So ECM is a time saver. It is a very time saver when compared to a conventional machining process. So during a drilling, several holes can be done at once. During a drilling, it can be done in several holes. So deburring can be done in hard to access areas. So fragile and brittle materials which are prone to damage can be machined easily in an ECM without cracking or a breaking. So brittle materials can be easily machined without having any fractures, without having any holes, any spores on the workpiece. So the surface finish is up to 25 microns. Surface finish is up to 25 microns. So the next one, so it comes to the disadvantages. So sometimes the process is costly because the equipment is very expensive. Equipment is very expensive. So the process is somewhat costly. So continuous supply of electrolytic solution is mandatory. Here, the main disadvantage is continuous. The process is continued because you had reached a certain amount of electrolytic solution on the tool. You can't stop the total process. It is to be get continued. And the next one, the steady voltage or potential difference should be maintained. The voltage is to be maintained a constant. It is not to be fluctuated. So rigid fixturing is required to withstand the high flow rate of electrolytes. So for that sake only, the workpiece is placed in a fixed chamber. It is placed in a fixed chamber so that the workpiece cannot be moved in any of the directions. So designing of the tool is others because it must be insulated to maintain the perfect conducting paths towards the workpiece. So the corrosion free material is needed for the structure and the electrolyte handling unit. So corrosion free material is to be get needed. So when these all is to be get maintained, automatically the total machining will be get more expensive. So when if the hydrogen is liberated at the tool surface, then it is possible to suffer from the hydrogen emburrent of the surface. So you have to be get control here. So there is a possibility of damages because of the sparks. Because of the sparks. So the conventional machining techniques produce more improved fatigue properties than an ECM. Than an ECM. So the applications, it is different industrial applications have been developed on based of the electrochemical machining, like in cutting and ECM, broaching, drilling, and deburring. So you all know already what is meant by this all. So these type of machining process can be easily, and it is used in a aerospace industries where a more accuracy is very important, and it is also used for complex shapes, which is difficult to machine the parts needed to the machine. Yeah. So these are the main examples. Different parts must maybe electrochemical machining, turbine blade material, and thin slots and the integral airfoils on the compressor disc. So these are the different examples which can be done on an electrochemical machining process. So clear, students? So clear here. So here, this is nothing but an electrochemical machining process. It totally carried out with the help of an Faraday's laws of electrolysis. So these are the different types of machining process which are to be carried out, and with the help of these machining process, we can manufacture a very small hole, a small miniature hole, and we can manufacture a different types of shapes and different types of sizes also. So in the next class, we will learn about what is meant by an electron beam machining and what is meant by laser beam machining. So those are the two left over with this. Okay. So with this, with the two also, we will complete the total machining process. Okay, na? So with this, the second unit can be get up to one extent. Okay. So do you having any doubts? So this is the content which is explained under the second unit. So here we want to see one thing is why the non-conventional machining process is to be get carried out when compared to a conventional machining process. Because non-conventional machining process, it is very flexible, and you can get a different types of operations can be get done, and different types of hard materials can be cut by using a non-conventional machining process.